welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I am here to review Netflix's The Sandman. Everybody, I'm just gonna put it out there right now. I have seen the old Neil Gaiman comic, The Sandman. You know, it's one of those comics, along with, I can't think of the other one, but it's along with, like, American Gods. There's a couple books like that people say can't be adapted. Or if you try to, the
Vertigo series.
Yeah. By the way, Seth's here. If you're wondering who that random voice is coming out of nowhere. No, there's a couple books like that. I'm trying to remember what the, I'm not gonna get into it, but there's a couple books like that what people say are just too weird and too out there to adapt, because it's just, if you've ever seen just panels from that classic Sandman comic, it's
yeah, Vertigo comics are weird.
It's out there. It's out there. So, you know, when you hear they're making this, you're like, okay, because at first they made an audio comic, which I've heard nothing but great things about. They got an all-star cast. They got like James McAvoy and shit. They got all these crazy people doing the audio, and I heard it was great. This is what I thought this was. And then it came out, oh no, Netflix is doing a show. And Netflix is, look, there are things on that show, obviously there are Netflix things I love. Last season of Stranger Things was fun. Umbrella Academy, love the Umbrella Academy. You know, so Netflix, like, for they're half and half. Half their shit is shit, and half their stuff is really good. And I have to say, I didn't expect to be saying this, but this show is firmly in the good half. Now, it's gonna be an acquired taste. I'll also put it to you that way. It happened to be something that I liked. It was like, it's just like food, you know? You heard, like, if they start putting ads out for some food, and they're like, oh yeah, hey, try out this new burger. We got this new sauce. I like the sauce. And, you know, I firmly like the sauce, but it'd be understandable if you guys don't like it, because it does share a little bit of DNA with American Gods in the sense of how it handles these larger-than-life beings, you know? Because obviously this isn't a movie, so they're kind of limited, but they do a great job at using the budget they do have to get across the grandness of. You have to understand, this story centers around the King of Dreams, Morpheus, the Sandman. This is a being who is literally in control of all dreaming things,
and he's like one of 7.
Yes, he is.
They're called the primordial gods.
There's a lot of them. They mention them. Hell, a couple of them show up. You see Death. You see Lucifer. You see there's a lot going on. Also, there's a weird thing going on where apparently they could not get the rights to use Constantine when they were making this, because WB. If you guys don't know this, which by the way feels kind of stupid now since Discovery just came in and swept under thing, but at the time WB was gonna make a Constantine movie. Like, it was in production. It was in production. Well, not in production, but, you know, they were in the process. So they couldn't use Constantine. So what they ended up doing is using, which is a character from the comics. I didn't know. I was just like, did they just make a female Constantine up? It was like Joanna Constantine. But no, Joanna Constantine is an actual character from the comics. She is a descendant of Constantine. They just sort of kind of swapped her, like, it's just, they moved her in to replace, so they still have a Constantine, it's just not John Constantine. But it's nice knowing that, because Neil Gaiman was talking about it in an interview, and he was like, yeah, we wanted to use Constantine, but they were like, well, we're doing this with him, so, you know. So he used Joanna, which is fine, because she still is a good representation of him, that, like, it's still something from the comics. It's not like they just straight, because I'm not gonna lie to you, when I first saw the casting, and they're like, Joanna Constantine, they just turned Constantine into a woman. Then I was like, oh, okay, never mind. And it works in the context of the story. But now it's been a long time since I've seen those old comics, and I don't quite remember the entire plot of them, so I can't tell you if it's completely accurate. Now, there'll be some comic book people who watch this and maybe think that it's inaccurate, but you know how I feel about accuracy anyways. Just tell a good story. It's an adaptation. It doesn't have to be shot for shot anyways. But the basic story of this show is, you know, Sandman, or Morpheus, says they call him. I guess this is technically his real name, but, you know, nickname Sandman, King of Dreams. He has a lot of names. One of his nightmares escaped into the real world. And this is like a 1926, something like that. one of his nightmares escapes into the real world, which I like. While I enjoy the show, there are a couple things that I have issues with, which is the fact that apparently the dreams and nightmares he creates can just leave. They can just leave. Like, I thought it'd be some complicated thing. Maybe they had to do some ritual. They can just leave. It's like, what? They can just do that? That was a little bit like, okay. And leading me into the next thing that I was like, really? So he goes down to Earth to go capture his nightmare. His nightmare is like this, he looks like a normal, handsome dude, but clearly, he's a nightmare, so there's more behind the facade. He's got these, like, teeth in his eyes. There's some weird shit going on there. And he goes down there, he has the mask and shit, from the comics, and he goes down there to capture his nightmare. But at the same time he went down there was this occult guy, this occultist, who had just recently lost his son, who thought, I'm gonna find these ancient books and magic, and I'm going to trap the angel of death and make them, give my son back. And unfortunately for the Sandman, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time and he got captured. I will say, that is a mind-blowing concept and it's not like it was like this occultist dude and a large group of, it was like him and like 10 other dudes captured a primordial being. And I was like, okay. I mean, it's not like they could kill him. They not only captured him, apparently, at least in this world, I don't know if it's like that in the comics, like, he has these, like, pieces of, artifacts on him. His helmet, this jewel, and his sand in a bag. That, like, they have a lot of his power in it. And when he landed in this circle that when they, captured him, he was unconscious and they took it off of him. So, I mean, it's not like they kill him, but they took it off of him. And it was just like, okay. Then, now, the thing is, he could have escaped. But then, being a smart little nightmare, his nightmare shows up on that guy's doorstep and it's like, you have him, don't you? And and he's like, okay, I'm going to tell you how you could trap him forever. I mean, because, I guess his nightmare would know more than anyone how to trap him. And he helped him create this giant sphere to trap Dream, as Morpheus, aka Dream. He's a lot of names. They trap him in this sphere. And the story itself, you don't really know where it's going until it goes. Because every time you think that it's going, at least in that first episode, the first episode alone made me think, oh, we're going here. Oh, we're not going there. Oh, we're going here. Oh, we're not going there. Because you think in the first episode, you think, oh, this is cool. So he's going to break out and, no, okay, it didn't go there. Oh, this is going to happen. Oh, it didn't go there. And like, by the time the story kicks in and Dream finally gets out of this pod thing, it's 100 years later. And his nightmare has been out wreaking havoc and millions, and turns out, without him being in the dream world, millions of people around the world went into like comas basically because they couldn't wake up. And it's like, that's so crazy. And those are the kind of ways they kind of like put over the power of these beings. It's not with like actual, CGI over the top. It's with like, stuff like that with like him just not being in his realm did that. And then the first half of the show, because the show's 10 episodes, is him hunting down his artifacts that have been kind of lost to the winds of the world. And at a certain point, he has to go to hell to get something. And Lucifer, who is played by a woman, but the way she does it with the coldness, and there's just this very uncomfortable feeling when she's looking at you. And she hates him. And she really has a hard on. I don't know if this is a comic thing or not, but she really wants, because like it turns out a long time ago, what's time for endless godlike beings, but a long time ago she had invited him there to try to negotiate merging hell and the dream world. Apparently that's what she wanted to do. Of course he told her, fuck no. And she has not, and she's kind of had it against him ever since then, but he has to go there to negotiate. And she basically challenged him to a game of wit. It was like this metaphysical game of chess that they went on. And he won. And she did not like that shit. But she wouldn't raise her hand to him because obviously You attack him, it's a threat towards his other siblings, and then you're gonna have death and all these other people, and it's like, you don't want that smoke. So she doesn't. But that whole sequence was awesome. And the entire show has a premise. Like, once you finally see it, you understand it. Now, like I said, this show's not gonna be for everyone. It's a little bit more thought-provoking. It's a little bit more, like I said, it has a lot of roots like American Gods. And if it's not the fastest pace, it ain't a ton of action. It's a thought-provoking, more subtle, more, existential show. And if that's not for you, this ain't gonna be for you. But for me, I enjoyed the hell out of it. I binged all 10 episodes of it in like 2 days. I give Netflix's The Sandman an 8.5 out of 10. Anyways, thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please like, subscribe, and if you have not seen Netflix's The Sandman, go check it out. I think it does pretty good justice to the comic. The lead actor, by the way, let me just say this last piece, does a great job of playing a being who is old. Like, he's a young guy, but he does a great job playing a being who's just like beyond. But all the actors actors who portray godlike beings do a great job with that. But he did a great job. Anyways, thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show again. Please remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.